I'm not really a One Piece fan, but I do think that devil fruits are the coolest magic item to have ever been made, and adding them to my own game was probably the coolest thing I've ever done. Hello, my name is Gabriel Galway, this is The Ugly Goblin, and I've been DMing for about 15 years, and recently I've developed mechanics for customizable devil fruits that will grow and level up as you do, and I think they're pretty cool. So a lot of you know me for making a lot of skill tree videos. I made a completely customizable classless skill tree system for D&D, so it completely removes classes entirely, as well as making a lot of anime themed skill trees, with my most popular probably being Jujutsu Kaisen, which I've done a couple, but one allows you also to make your own domain expansions. The other one allows you to make cursed packs so you can sacrifice pieces of your own humanity in order to gain more power, which again, I think are pretty cool. But when I was asked to make a One Piece skill tree, I really struggled because, well, I think for the last 10 years, if not more, I've been really trying to get into the One Piece series, and I never felt like I would do it enough justice unless I actually caught up with it. But despite how hard I've tried, and trust me, I have really tried, I just couldn't. I just can't get into this series. Like, it's not because it's too long or that the anime is dated, both of which are very much true and definitely play factors into it. But it's just that, now I've tried both the manga and the anime, and God, like, so many One Piece fans are gonna kill me for this. You're gonna hate me, but I just think possibly it's too slow, and yeah, things are way too drawn out. And I also just think it's quite childish. Like, I don't jive with the humor. I think the series doesn't take itself seriously enough. The fight scenes are crazy drawn out and just honestly quite boring. And so sorry, God. And it's just hard for me to stay invested when, like, Chopper cries like this.
Stop! He's already dead.
But I think this kind of humor is really common for series that have come out of the 90s. And it's probably actually why I also just can't get into Full Metal Alchemist. And I know, I just don't like either of them. And for the longest while, I've tried Full Metal Alchemist as well. I've tried that many times. Can't get into it.
Stop it. Get some help.
And all of this is to really say that despite my ability to digest the show as it's meant to be consumed, I still love it. I adore this series. In particularly, I like watching people gush over the lore and making fan theories and the power systems, describing all of that. I love watching content about One Piece, and I also really liked the live action. I think the live action did an amazing job of combining all of these wild and wacky aspects while still taking itself quite seriously. Because you don't have these crazy faces go like every like 2 minutes, which is so distracting. And also, don't get me wrong, I love wild and wacky and silly. I love the combination of humor and seriousness. That is my like bread and butter for storytelling. That's how I DM. But I think there's a lot of things that do it better. Number one, JoJo. I'm a massive fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Dandadan as well. Accomplish this really well without making me feel, I don't know, like cringy or uncomfortable or just like kind of rolling my eyes while watching the show. Yeah! I don't know. I don't like One Piece, but I also love One Piece. Because despite all of this, underneath the hood, I get it. I get why this is the #1 selling comic of all times, because it has quality in spades. It is so creative, and the world building is phenomenal. The characters are sensational. I just hate how it delivers it all. I'm just waiting for that reboot by Netflix. I can't wait for that, because maybe there's a chance then. And so to make this skill tree, to make a devil fruit skill tree that will evolve and adapt as you do, I went deep. I began to research everything out there about One Piece. About devil fruits, Haki, the world itself, like the Grand Line, Red Line, the New World, the World Government, the Void Century, what that D in Monkey D. Luffy means, and all these other characters. I know all about that. And all these other characters, like I know about the Poneglyphs, the Yonko, the 7 Warlords of the Sea, and those 3 ancient weapons that like are Poseidon and whatever. I know about Goldie Roger, Joy Boy, Mythical Zoans. I got theories in spades about what the One Piece is and what's happening in the world and what's gonna happen. I know it all. And also the best answer for what the One Piece is right over here in this video. Click it. It's peak. And then after all that research, I went ahead and I made a skill tree on Haki. I made a video on it, I released it, and that video bombed. It did so bad. So I made another skill tree, and I haven't released it, and then I passed out, and then I had a popsicle.
And then I woke up, and then I reloaded, and then I fired, and then I missed.
I waited until there was a moment where I thought this video might do kind of well. I waited till the anniversary of One Piece. So happy One Piece Day when this comes out. Because I'm not gonna lie, this skill tree for the devil fruits is bomb. It's amazing. It's so good. And I know because I've added it to my games, but I did change it. I changed up fundamentally what devil fruits are, so they better fitted my own world, but also just Dungeons and Dragons as a whole. I wanted the devil fruit to fit snugly into my world, you know? I didn't want it to be an anime object that exists and contrasts with everything. And so in my 10-year-old homebrew world of Gostar, these devil fruits were made long before any stories or campaigns have been told. This happened in an ancient time when technology and magic was at an all-time high. Sounds familiar, right? That's pretty much every single world in fantasy that has ever existed. There used to be a time when technology and magic was great. Well, obviously these people are conducting like godlike feats at this stage, and at one stage they went ahead and they made devil fruits. And this was accomplished by separating the soul of a devil from their body, so that when the soul left to go back to the hells from where they came, the body wouldn't turn into like a nasty little ichor and go and join them back in the hells. Because in my world, a devil's body and soul are one being. They're kind of interconnected, and there's a few other creatures in my world that are like that, one being Eladrin, the other being yokai and demons, and obviously the gods themselves, which are also a domain at the same time. So like any being with an intermingled soul and body that are kind of the same thing, they're essentially immortal beings in my world. But when these people were going to look for these immortal beings to use as ingredients for their devil fruit concoctions, angels were out of the picture. They're pretty hard to get. Yokai and demons, which are kind of the same thing, weren't on their radar, or they didn't technically exist yet. But devils were in plentiful supply and all lining up. They were dying to make a contract. And so this ancient civilization started experimenting on devils en masse, eventually discovering how to separate their soul from their body. So they had this new juicy material to work with, and they made many, many things from this. But one of those things was devil fruits, which is made from the flesh of devils and the spirits of great beings that existed within the world. They would harvest their essence too and fuse them together until they had these lovely juicy devil fruits. And the concept on paper was pretty sound. You take one of these devil fruits, you eat it, and you gain supernatural powers and abilities. Each devil fruit was custom made. They made a plethora of different ones out there. They made so many. They ate some, but in the end, so many of them were lost to time. And so now dozens, if not hundreds of these devil fruits exist within the world of Gostar, hidden in ancient tombs and ruins from this civilization, or just locked away in massive vaults and safe, waiting to be consumed. But there's a reason why there are still so many of these devil fruits still in existence, and why so many of them are locked away. You see, in the end, it's the devils who had the last laugh amongst all of this. You see, they caught on pretty quickly, and they would start to curse their own bodies and give themselves up willingly to this civilization, let themselves be caught, because they knew that these people, through their own thirst for power, would become their own damnation. Because now, whenever you ate one of these devil fruits, yes, you would gain superpowers, you become Super Rubber Man or made of fire or whatever it is, but also you would become cursed. And this curse would sever a connection to whatever you held most dear. Now, the rules I've written in this document are, yes, mainly for the water, the kind of classic devil fruit curse that you take damage whenever you're in water, you start drowning and suffocating, etc. But I also think that these rules could easily be bent and twisted to be applied to anything that your character holds most dear. For example, once you're within a certain proximity to a loved one, you start taking that same damage and you start drowning or suffocating. Or alternatively, if you love booze, anytime you drink booze, you take force damage in your stomach and you fall unconscious and start drowning. And so when one of your players consumes one of these devil fruits, take a moment and ask them, what is it that you hold most dear in the world? And then proceed to describe to them how they feel their connection to that loved thing sever as they curse themselves forever. When I added this to my own game and one of my players eventually ate a devil fruit, they had this character that they held very, very dear in their lives. They were a sea elf and they had this whole life connected to the sea and the ocean. So when they ate and consumed this devil fruit, they felt that connection break. That connection was destroyed forever. They would never be able to join that loved one in the ocean, in their life. And not only that, but also now slowly throughout this game, their relationship is eroding away. And the real kicker here, which is so tragic, obviously the player knew what they were getting into and what would happen, but the character had no idea. They just want to eat a funky fruit, maybe get some superpowers or whatever, and now their whole relationship is destroyed because devil's grudges never die. And these are the magic items that I love in my games. Ones with really rich lore, but also magic items that feel mechanically impactful, like they've really changed your playstyle or your world, but also have an equally heavy burden or curse or toll or something like that. I love that push and pull, all wrapped up in a deep, rich lore package. And most importantly, God, a magic item that can grow and develop with you, something that levels up and develops as you do. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a magic sword, it could be a demon arm, it could just be superpowers. I mean, I really like My Hero Academia for that same reason. The fact that they develop these powers as they train them and everything else is so freaking cool. Any concept in any form of media that has a magic item that develops with the character, scratches that itch, man, is peak. And I think that's probably why I gravitate towards skill trees and things, and why I went for a skill tree system for the devil fruits in this case, because, you know, I could have listed off all the different possible devil fruits out there, made individual magic items for every single one of them or whatever. That's a lot of work as well. But I also just think the concept of giving control to your players and letting them develop the devil fruit as they level up and learn new abilities and new possibilities for what this devil fruit can do, I just think that's so exciting. And I love player agency. I love giving that narrative over to the players, and I just think that's super fun. And so when you eat one of these devil fruits for the first time, obviously as a DM you can decide what it is originally, but I think it's super fun if you get the player to roll the dice to determine if this fruit that they eat is either a Zoan, Paramecia, or I know my devil fruits. It's hard sometimes when you got so many thoughts in your head and you can't remember everything. Logia, that's why I said Logan earlier. But what I think is super cool, obviously you as a DM, when your players first eat one of these devil fruits, yes, you could have decided beforehand what it is and what powers it gives, but I think what's way cooler is at the table, you roll a dice, and then whatever that dice is, it will determine if this fruit ends up becoming a Logia, a Paramecia, or a Zoan devil fruit. Or you could let your player choose, but maybe if you want a bit more randomness, I like randomness personally, I'd roll for it. And now, as for these different types of devil fruits, I'm going to explain them just in case, you know, you people don't know all the kind of cool One Piece terminology like I do. Okay, so Zoans. So Zoans allow you to transform into like a particular animal and take on the qualities of that animal or beast. And so when you eat a devil fruit and you discover it's a Zoan, you're going to roll on this random table to discover what kind of beast you can transform into. And that could be an agile, amphibious, armored, hunter, giant, or winged beast, all of which grant you access to unique powers and abilities that allow you to grow and develop as you level up. Logia then, on the other hand, are seen as the most powerful and probably the most rare of devil fruits, apart from like mythical devil fruits, but we're going to cover that at the end of this video. But they essentially allow you to embody a particular type of element, be it fire or light or smoke, and you can turn your body into that and control and wield it. And so if you consume a Logia devil fruit, you're going to roll on this table right here and determine what damage type you are now associated with. You can choose it at random, or if the DM allows you, you can go and pick one. And then you can decide what kind of visual flavor this Logia power has. So if you're connected to, say, fire, you might be a smoke or a steam type devil fruit user, and you can throw steam and soot at people to burn their faces off. But then if you're like a more obscure damage type, like necrotic or something like that, well, I think after seeing how messed up Crocodile can leave Luffy, I would say that sand could definitely do necrotic damage. But again, you could also go for something like rot and fungus or something like that. Or even something more anime like darkness.
Looks like chaos has been waiting for us.
Chaos. Are you chaos?
Me? I'm already half Xehanort.
I'm Sora.
Kyrie's inside me?
Did somebody mention the door to darkness?
But also keep in mind that when you do choose a Logia type and you get a damage type that you're associated with, you will also gain a core weakness, a new vulnerability to another type of damage. And then finally, we have Paramecia. So Paramecia are described basically as anything that isn't a Zoan or a Logia devil fruit. They can kind of just do anything. They can kind of do whatever the hell they want. So you could also just call Paramecia devil fruits miscellaneous. And because there are so damn many, and we haven't even seen them all yet, I had to try to figure out a way to incorporate all of those options. And this is also, I think, why I've gone mainly with a skill tree, is primarily to cover the endless possibilities of Paramecia. And I think I've done a good enough job. I keep putting this hat on and off, and I don't know if I want it on or if I want it off. As soon as I don't have it on, I feel like I'm not like participating in the One Piece video, but as soon as I have it on, I want to take it off because it's annoying. But I think I've managed it with the power of abstraction. So when you eat a Paramecia devil fruit, you're going to roll on this table here to determine what random abstract ability you gain. And that can be creation, destruction, evolving, or body manipulation if you want to be stretchy man. Body manipulation is probably the most abstract again, and we'll get to that. There's so many options for that. And so we'll look at the first one though, creation, which allows you to fabricate and control a particular material. Now, this is where you can get really creative with this. You could choose whatever that may be. Maybe it's mochi, maybe it's strings, maybe it's wax, who knows? But take a moment to consider also maybe what material might be related to your own character personally, or you know, you could just pick something totally random. I don't care. Paramecias of Destruction then are just really good at destroying things, and you can choose what kind of way you destroy things. Is it slicing it up or is it exploding? That's your choice. Evolving Paramecia then have learned how to adapt quickly to certain situations, and that can be through absorption or adaptation. So absorption is, as a reaction, you can absorb a particular damage type and heal that amount, or like a small amount. I don't think you heal by the amount of damage you would have taken, but you heal a little bit or something like that. And then alternatively, you could just gain a resistance to a particular type of damage. And then finally, we've left everyone's favorite here, the Gomu Gomu no Mi, or the body manipulation, plastic man, do whatever the hell you want kind of vibe here within the Paramecia Devil Fruit. I'm rambling. We're gonna get into it, because as you can see here, this has the most possibilities out there in terms of customization and what powers and abilities you start off with, but also over time you can add to your collection of abilities, take more of these as you develop and grow your devil fruits, as you can do with most of these different types of devil fruits. But let's say you take the stretch feature, for example. Now, the obvious choice and probably your instinctual choice is to be Rubber Man, and it's like, okay, my body's made of rubber, but like consider other things. Maybe your whole body is made out of growing living crystal, or maybe you're a plant man now and you can grow roots and vines and everything else. And even that is probably quite limited. You see, what I love about this, what I do love about One Piece is how gosh darn creative it is. And that's kind of been my main goal with this skill tree, is to try to embody what Oda has created, what One Piece really is, and it is just wild, unburdened, unrestricted creativity and inspiration. And so what I'll say is just be inspiring, be silly, because these magic items allow you to add a fresh new coat of paint to your D&D games. So open up your mind, open up the boundaries and possibilities of maybe just being a grenade launcher who ate a fruit and is now a dog that's also a grenade launcher. Somehow the fruit can make inanimate objects sentient and also like animals now, because that's what we're hoping to achieve, right? We want to shatter all expectations of what is possible. We want to open up the doors of just full flowing creativity, of just silliness and wonder, and just allow your D&D games to become these wild, unhinged fever dreams of a campaign, because that is true creativity. That is true storytelling. Oda, thank you for making One Piece. Thank you for making this exceptional, just masterpiece of creativity and wonder and childlike imagination and fun and silliness and all of this that's on screen right now. Just thank you for all of it, because it's so good. It's so good. We love it. We love you, Oda. Oda said, say thank you for all this, but JoJo's better. And while we're on the topic of saying thank you so much to all my patrons who make this job possible. Thank you to Bridge on the Lake. Thank you to Tom WDW. Thank you to all my incredible patrons. If you want to grab this Devil Fruit skill tree, go hop over to my Patreon, check it out. You can get it over there. Thank you all so much for watching. I wish you good luck on all your future endeavors. Goodbye. We never actually covered mythical devil fruits, but basically they make you the main character, and once you get to the center of this skill tree, you realize the devil fruit you ate all that time ago was actually a mystical devil fruit, and you got amazing crazy powers and now have access to the entire skill tree and can customize your devil fruits as you like. You can get any power your heart desires. Hope that will do.